People have been speaking up to now have aimed to enlighten you. I think what I'm going to do is confuse you, but that's what I do for a living. Philosophy has no particular subject matter. It's best defined by the sort of questions it asks and the methods it uses. Often this involves questioning the meaning and truth of commonly accepted assumptions. I wish to give you a flavor for what this is like by presenting some visual phenomena that I find fascinating. This, many of you know, is Marguerite's pipe. It's usually assumed that what we see is what there is. Marguerite's pipe brings to the fore two questions. One, what counts as reality? And the second one, what distinguishes words from other forms of representation? Now, this gun, if it's working properly, should be pointing at all of you, no matter where you sit. It's an interesting phenomenon of vision, and if you move from right to left, it will follow you along. This, of course, is not possible with a real gun, but this phenomena takes place all over, and if you've been to a museum, you may have seen this painting by Bay. The floors also move from left to right. Most people are unaware that that happens, but if you go to the Louvre and see the Mona Lisa, she will follow you around wherever you go. This is to point out that what it illustrates is what that figure is could be a symbol in a foreign language, a map, a wiring diagram, or a picture, or it could be a picture of a mountain, a sunrise, and other things of that sort. Now, it's usually thought that pictures represent by resemblance, words by convention. The word dog could refer to cats, or vice versa. Question is, what was that a representation of, and what does that, to you, resemble? Now, these two came from a museum exhibit where the artist's intention was to represent some people engaged in winter sports. If you can now see it, most people didn't see the first. This flashes in, and now what was at one time not visible pops up. The resemblances then emerge as a result of the interplay between words and language. Okay, this is to point out another phenomena. What you see at the top are a circle, a square, and a triangle, but actually parts of them are not there. They're occluded by one another. Fortunately, the visual system in our mind fills in what's missing. Remarkably, if you saw that lady that was up there, you can fill that in also. Here is an example of what happens every day. We're filling in the WA in back of the man, we're filling in the seat that he's sitting on, and we're filling in the rest of his body, and every day seems much like that. This up here, if you look, the black square and the white square really are not there. There is nothing. What they're sitting above is the exact same color. If you turn those Pac-Men to the right, you'll see the squares disappear, and this is just sort of a joke about someone being fooled by police firemen. Here, the question is that the gray squares in the middle are all the same color. They all are what they look at the bottom. What it is that their surrounds are different. Which one looks really like it should? There is no sense to that question. Here, if you look at the top, the reds are all the same. Again, what something looks like in color is a function of what's near it. And you can see the pairs are all the same color. Again, what something looks like is the neighborhood. Many of you, when you look at television, you see all sorts of colors, oranges, greens, whatever. Actually, if you get really up close, it's just a bunch of pixels in 3 different colors. So when you see an orange on the screen, are you seeing what the color really is? Or when you move up to it? Up here, those 3 lines at the top are, with and without the arrows, actually the same size. The red thing, if you can see it, shows that. Again, how the size of things looks is a function of the neighborhood. And again, to ask which of those things looked really the right size makes no sense. This is another phenomenon that horizontals look shorter than verticals. This is something that has to be taken into account by people who make font and people who construct buildings and things. And if you didn't mind, that one that went by quickly, that the two tables are actually exactly the same size and shape. This, I don't know if you can see this. Here's a case where you end up getting a lot of information by misperceiving everything. Where does this sort of leave us? Well, most psychologists are interested in explaining the phenomena. My own interests are less in that and more at trying to see what this tells us about the nature of our visual system, how much we make up and how much is actually there. And I think if you look at those things, you'll see that my own conclusion from this is not that we're deceived by the way the world is, but rather that there are many ways of seeing what the world is. And this is the pitch for money. There is no one way the world is. There are good ways and bad ways, and I guess this is a short talk by a short person with short ideas.